The date is March 27, 1988, and WrestleMania IV is being held at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's the biggest night in professional wrestling, and Ted DiBiase stands at the precipice of greatness. The World Heavyweight Championship hangs in the balance, and the $1 Million Man is poised to seize it. Like Hans Gruber stepping into Nakatomi Plaza, he upholds a supreme sense of superiority, along with an unshakable belief that everyone has their price. For this night represents the culmination of a masterful heel ascent, a character so perfectly crafted for its time that it has transcended the world of wrestling and tapped into the zeitgeist of 1980s America. For he isn't just playing a character, he's holding up a mirror to society's obsession with wealth and status. His performance against Macho Man Randy Savage proves to be a masterclass in villainy, a symphony of sneers and underhanded tactics that elevate the art of being the heel to new heights. With each calculated gesture and contemptuous glare, he weaves a tapestry of arrogance so palpable it seems to permeate the very air of Trump Plaza. His every move is a deliberate provocation, designed to elicit visceral disdain from the audience and stoke the flames of their passionate support for Savage. The $1 Million Man's cerebral approach to malevolence transcends mere physical prowess. It's psychological warfare of the highest order. He exploits every loophole, pushes every boundary, and revels in the catharsis of collective animosity directed his way. Even in defeat, he achieves victory, for he has so masterfully manipulated the emotions of the crowd that his loss only serves to intensify their hatred, ensuring his place as the preeminent heel of his era. This isn't just a wrestling match, it's a treatise on the nature of antagonism in storytelling, with DiBiase as its primary author and the squared circle as his typewriter. He is Gordon Gekko in spandex, a villain so deliciously despicable that audiences couldn't help but be captivated. But how exactly did he become the $1 Million Man? To understand the villain, we must first understand the man. Born on January 18, 1954, in Omaha, Nebraska, Theodore Marvin DiBiase was destined for the squared circle. His adoptive father, Iron Mike DiBiase, was a renowned professional wrestler, while his mother, Helen Hild, was one of the first female professional wrestlers. Wrestling wasn't just a career choice for young Ted. It was the family business. His athletic prowess was evident from an early age. A standout football player in high school, Ted earned a scholarship to West Texas State University, a school that would produce numerous professional wrestlers, including Tully Blanchard and Tito Santana. But tragedy struck early in Ted's life. In July 1969, when Ted was just 15, his father suffered a fatal heart attack during a match in Lubbock, Texas. This devastating loss would shape his future in ways he couldn't have imagined at the time. With wrestling in his blood, he made his professional debut in 1974 for Mid-South Wrestling. It was here, under the tutelage of the legendary Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk, that he honed his craft. His natural athleticism, combined with a keen mind for the psychology of wrestling, quickly set him apart from his peers. Throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, he worked his way through the territorial system, wrestling for promotions like Georgia Championship Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and the World Wrestling Federation. It was during this period that Ted began to develop the in-ring style and microphone skills that would later define his career. But it was his return to Mid-South Wrestling in 1985 that truly catapulted him to the next level. As the promotion's top heel, he engaged in a legendary feud with Junkyard Dog, culminating in a loser leaves town match that he lost. This setback, however, was merely setting the stage for his most iconic role. In 1987, Ted returned to the World Wrestling Federation with a new gimmick that would change the course of his career and leave an indelible mark on professional wrestling history. Enter the $1 Million Man. The character was the brainchild of WWF owner Vince McMahon. The gimmick was a reflection of the excesses of the 1980s, a time when Wall Street wolves and corporate raiders captured the public imagination. DiBiase would come to the ring in tailored suits, dripping with jewelry, accompanied by his loyal manservant Virgil. The $1 Million Man didn't just talk about his wealth, he flaunted it at every opportunity. McMahon provided him with a hefty allowance to maintain the illusion of extreme wealth. Ted would travel first class, stay in the best hotels, and always be seen flashing large amounts of cash. He would perform demonstrations of wealth by offering members of the audience money to perform degrading acts, bouncing on one foot while patting their head, kissing his feet, or picking up dollar bills he'd scattered on the floor. One of the most infamous of these demonstrations occurred when he offered a young boy $500 to bounce a basketball 15 times. When the boy reached 14, Ted kicked the ball away, cackling, "When you don't do the job right, you don't get paid." It was cruel, it was callous, and it was perfect. What made the $1 Million Man so effective was that he tapped into real emotions. In an era of larger-than-life characters, this gimmick felt uncomfortably real. He was the guy who got rich while you struggled to make ends meet. He was the embodiment of unfairness in a world that preached the virtues of hard work. His signature post-victory ritual involved forcibly inserting a crisp Benjamin into his opponent's maw, a gesture dripping with contempt and extravagance. However, this ostentatious display of wealth was merely an illusion, as Virgil, his ever-present adjutant, would clandestinely reclaim the sullied note, a masterful sleight of hand that maintained the manicured facade while ensuring fiscal conservation. The origins of his first notable storyline began to manifest at the 1987 Survivor Series, where he was part of Andre the Giant's team against Hulk Hogan's squad. This association with Andre would prove crucial in one of the most controversial and memorable angles in wrestling history. In early 1988, he attempted to purchase the World Heavyweight Championship from Hulk Hogan. When Hogan refused, he enlisted the help of Andre the Giant to win the title for him. This led to the infamous twin referees match on the main event, where Andre defeated Hogan for the title under suspicious circumstances and immediately surrendered it to DiBiase. This moment was the culmination of everything the $1 Million Man stood for, the idea that with enough money you could buy anything, even the most prestigious title in wrestling. The reaction was nuclear, fans were outraged, and the angle generated massive heat. The title was eventually vacated, leading to a tournament at WrestleMania IV to crown a new champion. The $1 Million Man made it to the finals, facing off against Macho Man Randy Savage in one of the most memorable matches of his career. Despite interference from Andre the Giant, he ultimately fell to Savage. But the loss at WrestleMania IV didn't diminish his status. If anything, it enhanced it. He had come so close to the top prize, and his ruthless pursuit of it only reinforced his character. In the aftermath, he unveiled his own championship, the $1 Million Belt. This glittering, diamond-encrusted belt became a symbol of his excess and his refusal to play by anyone else's rules. Throughout 1988 and 1989, the $1 Million Man engaged in high-profile feuds with top babyfaces like Randy Savage and Jake the Snake Roberts. His matches were always technical masterpieces, showcasing his in-ring prowess that was sometimes overshadowed by his character work. The feud with Roberts was particularly memorable, playing off the contrast between his wealth and Roberts' everyman appeal. In 1992, Ted formed a tag team with fellow heel Erwin R. Shyster, known as Money Inc., and they would go on to capture the tag team championship 3 times. The pairing allowed Ted to showcase his skills as a tag team wrestler while maintaining his $1 Million Man persona. As the 1990s progressed, Ted's role in the Federation began to change. While still a prominent figure, he transitioned into more of a managerial role, leading stables such as the $1 Million Corporation. This group included wrestlers like Bam Bam Bigelow, King Kong Bundy, and a young Steve Austin, allowing him to extend his influence and mentor rising stars. The $1 Million Man's in-ring career with the WWF came to an end in 1996, but his impact on the industry was far from over. He had brief stints in the WCW and the independent circuit before retiring from active competition in 1999 due to a neck injury, but he still remained involved in the business, returning for occasional appearances and working as a color commentator as well as behind the scenes. Throughout his career and beyond, Ted has displayed a remarkable ability to adapt and survive in an industry known for its physical and emotional toll on performers. In an era where many of his contemporaries succumbed to the pressures of the road, substance abuse, and the physical demands of wrestling, he managed to navigate a decades-long career with relative stability. The list of wrestlers from this generation who left us too soon is tragically long. Curt Hennig, Rick Rude, Scott Hall, and many others. In this context, Ted's capacity to not only survive but thrive well into the 21st century is noteworthy. Today, at 70 years old, he remains connected to the world of professional wrestling. He makes occasional appearances at events, conventions, and indie shows, sharing his wealth of knowledge with a new generation of performers. Ted ultimately reinvented himself as a Christian minister, founding Heart of David Ministry in 1999. He now travels globally, sharing his faith through speaking engagements and his autobiographical book, Every Man Has His Price, which blends his wrestling career with his spiritual journey. But his life after wrestling hasn't been without controversy. In 2020, Ted found himself embroiled in a real-life scandal that eerily echoed his on-screen persona. In a twist of irony, his ministry was accused of misusing millions in welfare funds meant for Mississippi's neediest families. The scandal unfolded like a complex wrestling storyline, with Ted's son Brett playing a key role as a state official. As the plot thickened, it ensnared not just his family, but also other high-profile figures like NFL star Brett Favre. When confronted, Ted claimed his celebrity status made him an easy target, echoing the defensive tactics of many caught in scandals. However, this real-world heel turn didn't sit well with those who knew him personally. His former agent, in a striking character testimony, insisted that the allegations didn't match the God-fearing man he knew. This saga blurs the lines between the $1 Million Man's infamous wrestling character and his real-life persona, leaving fans and critics alike to ponder. Was this a case of life imitating art, or a misunderstanding of biblical proportions? Either way, the impact of the $1 Million Man extends far beyond his in-ring achievements. His character was a cultural touchstone, a reflection of its time that still resonates today. This edgy, reality-based persona pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable in mainstream wrestling, paving the way for more morally ambiguous characters and storylines. Look at any effective heel character in modern wrestling, and you'll see echoes of the $1 Million Man. From JBL's wealthy tycoon gimmick to The Miz's Hollywood A-lister persona, the DNA of Ted's character is evident throughout the industry. The $1 Million Man represented the dark side of the American dream, the idea that with enough money, you could buy anything, including respect and adulation. He understood that true heel heat comes not from cartoonish villainy, but from tapping into real emotions and societal tensions. When he humiliated working-class fans with his displays of wealth, he wasn't just playing a bad guy in a wrestling ring. He was embodying the very real class divides that exist in American society. In 2010, Ted's contributions to professional wrestling were formally recognized with his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. It was a fitting tribute to a man who had given so much to the industry. But perhaps the most compelling aspect of this story is the journey of the man behind the character. In his later years, Ted has been open about his struggles with the lifestyle that came with being a top star in professional wrestling. "I lived that character," he has said. "The money, the excess, it wasn't just on screen, and it nearly cost me everything that truly mattered." A poignant reminder that behind every larger-than-life character is a very real person, with very real struggles and triumphs. From his early days as a territorial wrestler to the heights of WWF superstardom, through personal struggles and redemption, his story is one of resilience, reinvention, and enduring impact. In the ever-evolving world of professional wrestling, characters come and go, but few leave a lasting impression. The $1 Million Man stands as a testament to the power of a perfectly executed gimmick, a character that continues to resonate with audiences decades after his debut. In the end, the $1 Million Man proved that while money can't buy happiness, it can buy one hell of a legacy. And in the world of professional wrestling, that's a currency that never loses its value.